Many foreigners ask me about geisha. They often say, are geisha prostitutes? So today, I thought I'd talk about geisha. There are many stories about how geisha began, but this is a hentai channel, so I'm going to introduce the most interesting one. Meshida jokes about Japan. A geisha is a high-class entertainer who performs Japanese dances and plays instruments like the shamisen. They help to carry on these traditional arts. The world of geisha is called the Karyukai, and there are still some kagai, or geisha districts, where geisha exist in Japan. Gion is the most famous district in Kyoto, while in Tokyo it is Shinmashi. A geisha's job is to play traditional instruments, dance, and entertain customers through games and conversation to allow them to relax and have fun. By the way, they never provide sexual services. So, you can say now, geisha are not prostitutes. But when you look back at history, it is complicated. 飯だ It is said that the origin of geisha lies in onna kabuki or women's kabuki. Women's kabuki is also the precursor to modern-day kabuki, which is one of Japan's popular traditional performing arts. A woman named Okuni dressed up like a man and started dancing. They imitated kabukimono. Kabukimono were men in gangs who dressed in flamboyant clothing and were famous for doing crazy things. For example, performers expressed through dance a man having sex with a woman in a tea house. This style of dance, called kabuki dance, became very popular. So, many female performers made groups and imitated that performance, and they incorporated shamisen. Over time, this became women's kabuki. You could say that the origin of our most popular traditional performing art is a female Rocky Horror Picture Show. Of course, not only on the stage, they also danced on the futon after the event. Women's kabuki shows combined entertainment and sex. After their performance, people could enjoy not only the banquet hall, but also the dancers' hall. The government was afraid of the women's kabuki movement because it looked like a crazy gangbang party. So they prohibited women from taking part in kabuki and tried to separate entertainment and sex. The government then created Yoshiwara, a legal red light district, and they clamped down on performers who also provide sexual services and sent them to Yoshiwara. Almost 300 years before the Netherlands legalized prostitution, Japan made a legal prostitution area. Believe it or not, in the Edo period, we were very forward-thinking. But some female kabuki performers avoided being arrested and they started private businesses in the city. A young performer and a middle-aged performer teamed up and provided private performances for rich men. The young woman danced, and the middle-aged woman played the shamisen. These kinds of private performers became very popular. They created a fun atmosphere and entertainment in banquet halls as well as between the sheets. Although there are various theories, it is said that these kinds of female performers were called geisha. 飯だ In Tokyo, Fukagawa is known for being the birthplace of geisha. There was a river and there were few fires, so many merchants and restaurants moved to this area. Many okabasho, our non-certified whorehouses, started doing business there. That's why many female performers gathered in this area. They provided dancing and music, not only to liven up the atmosphere, but also to liven up dicks as necessary. The Fukagawa geisha were famous for two distinctive features. One was performing, and the second one was sexual scenes. However, they said publicly that the Fukagawa geisha don't provide sexual services. We are geisha. But everyone knew that was tatemae, which means public falsehood. Even the governor understands that it was tatemae. So the Fukagawa geisha were not certified by the governor. To be honest, the Fukagawa geisha provided both performances and sex. But if they provided sexual services easily, they would be looked down upon by people and called toko geisha, our bedroom geisha. To keep being valuable, the important thing was to rarely provide sexual services. They avoided being recognized as easy and they tried to sell a clean image. Even though sometimes they actually were sluts, the same as Christian women. Women who rarely had sex with customers made them so excited because they thought they might become one of those special customers. So they spent a lot of money. This stupid desire was inherited by modern-day Japanese men who often go to Kyabakura, our hostesses, and hope to become special customers. To become a popular geisha, how often you had sex was often more important than the frequency of your performances. There was often an inverse relationship between how often you had sex and your popularity. So, I would definitely say that geisha and prostitute are very different because geisha could choose their customers and when they accepted them, although maybe not every time. One time, 115 geisha in Fukagawa who provided sexual services were arrested and transferred to the Yoshiwara Red Light District. In Yoshiwara, they divided up the prostitutes and performers. They forced talented performers to devote themselves to performing. Then, they called them Yoshiwara Geisha. The Yoshiwara Geisha were certified as real geisha by the governor. They could call themselves geisha, but they were allowed to perform only in the Yoshiwara district. They didn't have any freedom. Maybe among the common people, they were seen as fake geisha who only provided performances.
飯だ
Once Fukagawa became popular as a geisha area, many geisha openly provided sexual services. Then Fukagawa gradually lost its dignity and declined. Instead of Fukagawa, the Yanagibashi area became popular as a geisha area in Tokyo until the Meiji era. The reason why Yanagibashi became more popular than the Fukagawa area was because Fukagawa became more like a red light district. On the other hand, the Yanagibashi area provided sexual services very secretly. They showed their tatemae, or the public facade, that they only provide performances very well. Then, beneath the tatemae, they enjoyed having sex.
飯だ
During the Meiji era, Japan tried to westernize the country and prohibited human trade. As a result, many prostitutes and geisha were released and became free. Then, the old geisha system was gone, but a new system started. By the way, one of the reasons that foreigners think geishas are prostitutes is that after World War II, while under American occupation, many Japanese prostitutes dressed up and pretended to be geisha and provided sexual services. Then, American soldiers misunderstood and thought that geisha were whores. They believed they experienced a real geisha's futon performance, but they just enjoy a fake geisha's hentai role-playing service. So, coming directly from a Japanese person, I said to you, geisha don't provide sexual services. I promise.
飯だ
Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. So, see you soon. Bye bye.